Misty is a Kanto gym leader, but is she strong enough to answer my question, can we beat Pokemon Scarlet as Misty? We start off by customising our character to look the closest to Misty as we possibly can. I hope I did a pretty good job on this. We do the intro stuff and we get our starter and call it Boxed, because that's what it's going to be forever, Boxed. Before the first town, we can catch Psyduck and Azurill. Then if we do some shenanigans, we can fall on top of a Magikarp and catch that and add it to our team. Also, these Psyducks were following me around for quite a while. I'm sorry guys, but you're not the chosen one. We beat up some trainers to grind a few levels for our team, and then we face Nemona. We get destroyed though by her terrestrialized electric type, but luckily we don't need to win this battle to progress at this part of the game. So we head into the main city and we're introduced to Team Star. We battle some grunts and we learn terrestrialization. I'm opting to not use it in this run, but only under certain circumstances, and if I do use it, it'll be on our blue ball of power, Azurill. So we get to choose our path now, and I want to unlock the ability to surf right away, so we're going to go for the Titan. First up is Cloth. Okay, Cloth is a rock type, so 2 water pulses from our ace Psyduck makes it run away to activate stage 2. After dropping quite literally on Cloth's head, we can start the phase. It eats a herb and Mystica we've been trying to find out about and powers itself up. It's rock smashing Shelder, leaving us to hit it pretty hard with water pulses, but we don't get a confusion. It gets angry from its ability and gets a Shell Smash boost. Psyduck's an absolute tank though, and takes a rock smash as me and Shelder finish off the fight with some more water moves. We get ourselves our first Titan badge, we power up Koraidon, allowing us to dash, so we're getting closer to unlocking the ability for him to surf. I'm feeling pretty good so far, so why don't we challenge our first gym? We use our Koraidon during the Olive Roll challenge and finish it pretty quickly. What can I say, I like to dash. So first up is Katie, the bug gym leader, and she leads with Nimble. 2 water pulses are all Psyduck need to take out her first Pokemon. Next up is Tarantula, I think I said that right. We send out Azurill and we're hitting some huge slams for just over half as she hits weak bug bites. She dodges a slam though, but still doesn't do much damage with bug bite, so one more slam next turn finishes her off. Finally is our ace Teddiursa. He terrestrializes and goes for a Fury Cutter, nearly taking us out, but we slam him. We dodge a Fury Cutter luckily next turn and hit a slam taking him pretty low. However, he shortly takes us out the next turn. Finally, we send out our Psyduck and finish him off with some scratches. I thought it'd be pretty fitting as Psyduck in the anime always sharpens his claws and goes for scratches. We win, giving us our first gym badge. We make our way to Artisan to go for the second gym badge, the grass one. This might be rough as I struggled with a random Hoppip that paralysed, slept and bullet seeded my whole team. Anyhow, we do the Sunflora and we round up an army and then we're ready for the grass gym. Gracias is our next opponent, the Artisan gym leader, and this is how our first attempt went. I can't even begin to describe how this fight went. I have to speed it up as it took ages, but our little blue ball came in clutch. So Psyduck gets a crit from a Mega Drain and we hit a couple of weak Psybeams before he takes us down. Then we send out our powerhouse, Azurill. We bounce and nearly one-shot him, before we being put to sleep over and over and over. Even while we are asleep, the AI keeps going for it. We finally wake up and can take it down with bounce, so out comes Smoliv. We obliterate this thing with one bounce attack. Sudowoodo is a grass type now, so we bounce and do okay damage and we get the paralyze, but eventually we go down to attacks. Magikarp is our last hope with Trailblaze. Speed boost, I generally thought he would outspeed us and pray we lived and flailed, but we are actually faster. He hits us with a Trailblaze taking us super low. We flail, critical hit, and we still don't do enough damage. So I decide to finally give Misty her ace and level up Magikarp, getting Gyarados. We teach her Ice Fang and now we have an absolute powerhouse, so let's go back to the gym. This time I felt kinda nasty. Gyarados absolutely destroys this gym now, it's pretty much a one-shot sweep, so we beat him and get our gym badge. Next up is the Sky Titan, Bombardier. God, I struggle to say that word. We lead Psyduck as he hits a rock throw taking us to 20 HP. We hit a water pulse for about 20% of his health before he takes us out with Pluck. That leads us to sending out Azurill as our next Pokemon. We go for a slam, but he outspeeds and hits us and nearly takes us out in just one move with a wing attack. We're in the red, but our slam does massive amounts of damage to him before he takes us out with a Pluck. Finally, we can send out Gyarados, it's our last hope. We have Intimidate, so we lower his attack, and then we fire off an Ice Fang for a massive amount of damage, activating stage 2. After eating a Herba Mystica and powering it up, we have Gyarados and we lower his attack with Intimidate. Arvin has an Akali as well. We go for an Ice Fang as Bombardier torments us first, meaning that we can't use Ice Fang twice in a row, which is a pretty good strategy from him, to be honest. We connect the Ice Fang as Akali hits a Rock Throw, taking him really low. Next turn, Bombardier only torments an Akali, so we hit a tackle, getting a critical hit and winning us Titan number 2. Our team has leveled up a bit now, so next is our first team star fight against a Dark type. We lead Psyduck and he has a Ponyard. We have low sweep though, so we can tank an Aerial Ace and hit a super effective attack. One more Aerial Ace and we just survive, leading us to taking out Ponyard the following turn. Next up is his big truck, Revavroom. He quickly takes down Psyduck so we can send out Azurill. It's quite funny seeing something so small stand up to a monster truck. We hit 2 Mud Bombs to lower his accuracy as he goes for some attacks, but he's not doing too much damage. We hit a couple of bounces before he finally takes down Azurill. Lastly, we have Gyarados. We have Intimidate to lower his attack. This was a pretty slow fight, so I've just sped it up. We spam Ice Fang while he misses his Metal Sounds thanks to Azurill. In the end, we overpower him, winning us our first team star fight. Now it's time for another scary gym, the electric gym leader Iono. We picked up Love Disc before this fight and we've taught Gyarados Bulldoze, so let's give it a shot. We lose the first fight and it's not even close, and let me just start by telling you this was torture. After all the fights on top of the insanely long intros to battles with her. I tried this fight dozens of attempts, as you can see on the screen now, but it's just not happening. I decided to go and get the TM for Earthquake and it's still not happening. Mismagius is just too fast and too strong with Charge Beam. I tried it so many times, but eventually I was starting to level and I was over leveling the other parts of the game, so I decided to leave the gym for now and come back to it. So we go beat down on the Team Star Fire member and we take her frustration out on her fire types. Psyduck takes on Torkoal, who sets up the sun, reducing our water type attacks, but we take it down quite easily after that. Psyduck puts in a shift versus a Revavroom and does over half before finally being taken out. We then send out Love Disc to do some solid damage with Surf, the sun goes and we finish it off with another Surf, getting us another Team Star victory. So we go back to the electric gym and I'm feeling pretty confident. We are over leveled, but it's still a scary fight. We take out Wattrel with one Ice Fang, as always, and then we swap on Bellibolt to Azurill. I'm still not sure if Earthquake is a one-hit KO, and we can't risk losing Gyarados this early on. So Bellibolt sparks us and gets to Paralyze, as we can't move this turn either. We take one more spark, and we get Parahaxed again. Here we go. So we send out Gyarados and hope we finally do enough to take it out in one hit. We do, thankfully. Luxio's up next, and we swap to Psyduck so we don't get hit by Intimidate on our Gyarados. We go for Water Pulse and we do half, and we get the Confuse on him. He hits himself in confusion, meaning Psyduck can take it out, finally with another Water Pulse. Now, the scary one. We swap to Gyarados and hope we outspeed now at this level. We finally do. We go for Bite, and we get the Flinch Hacks. We go for another Bite, and we flinch again. It's finally over. We take out Mismagius with a last bite, winning us our third gym badge. Out of all my attempts, I have never even got so much as a critical hit, so I will 100% take this fight. Moving on. We go to the Steel Titan next, Orthworm. I mistakenly forgot that it doesn't get affected by ground moves due to its ability, but this was a pretty lackluster fight all in all. We spam Bite for a while before it takes down Gyarados, and we swap into our Love Disc, then we take it out with Surf. This lets us power up our Koraidon again and allows us to jump further now. We head to the water gym now, and we deliver Cole through his wallet so we can challenge him. It's a Kanto versus Paldea gym leader battle. We lead Psyduck as he sends out Veluza. We exchange hits with Trailblaze as he hits us with Pluck while we boost our speed. We get him low before Psyduck goes down after doing some really good work. Gyarados comes out and we revenge kill it with Bite. Up next is a weird looking Wug trio. We get hit for a headbutt and we hit a critical hit Earthquake, taking him down. Last is his ace, Crabominable. This thing has a crazy good attack stat. We go into Love Disc and we go for a Lovely Kiss to confuse him. He hits us for roughly half with a Slam. We then go for Charm, harshly lowering his attack stat. We go for Charm again as he snaps out of his confusion, but he still takes us out with Sandstorm damage and another attack. We send out Azurill, but even at this lowered attack stat, we can't take 2 Crab Hammers and we go down without even connecting a hit. Our last Pokemon is Gyarados. We lower his attack even more with Intimidate and we hit an Earthquake, taking him low as we both get buffeted by the Sandstorm after he hits a Slam, but it doesn't really do anything. Our last attack finishes him off, winning us gym number 4. Up next is Team Star Poison. This was a pretty easy and quick victory. Gyarados is level 36 and now he knows Dragon Dance, so we settle up 2 Dragon Dances and we sweep through the whole team with Earthquake. While this plays out, let me give an update on our progress so far. We're at 3 Team Stars, 4 Gym Badges and 3 Titans, so we're really making a dent in this adventure. On to the normal gym now. We passed the gym test and we're ready to take him on. We lead with Azurill as he leads with Ikamala. He hits us with a Yawn and we go for Slam and do some solid damage. He slams us and takes us out in just 1 hit. Poor Azurill. We send out Psyduck next and he goes for Yawn yet again. We hit a low kick for okay damage. He slams us, leaving us on only a sliver of HP as we hit another low kick, taking him to the red. Now we go to Love Disc and we set up the rain with Rain Dance. We have a held item, Damp Rock, custom to my rules, although I barely use any items anyway. We hit a Surf, taking down Kamala before we swap out to Gyarados on Dunsparce. Now, we know he's going to paralyse us, so I take the opportunity to set up 3 Dragon Dances to put us at a +1 speed, while he takes us pretty low with some Hyper Drills. We take out Dunsparce in 1 Aqua Tail boosted in the rain, and then his ace is Staraptor. It has Intimidate, so it lowers our attack, and we have to hope to break through the paralysis. Bloody hell, that word. We do, and we take it out in 1 Aqua Tail, winning us badge number 5. Straight after Larry, Nemona challenges us to another battle. We are starting to see just how weak our Pokemon are now. Azurill does absolutely nothing and goes down super easy. Psyduck's damage is mediocre and he goes down straight away too. Love Disc can set up the rain, but even a boosted Surf can't take out Lycanroc, so it comes down to Gyarados to straight up set up Dragon Dances, survive, and then sweep her. I'm starting to see a pattern now. Our best opportunity to win as we get to a higher level and start to face higher base stat Pokemon comes down to supporting Gyarados, so we can get off the sweep. Back-to-back gym fights here though, as we take on the Ghost Gym Leader Rhyme. She has a Toxicity that knows Discharge, so that is something scary. We lead with Gyarados and Azurill as it's a double battle, and she has a Mimikyu and a Banette. We set up a Dragon Dance while Azurill flies in the sky for a bounce. We can then Earthquake freely with Gyarados as we won't hit Azurill as it's in the air. We do solid damage to Banette and we break Mimikyu's disguise. A bounce doesn't quite take out Banette though. Next turn, the crowd cheers them on, boosting their speed as Gyarados takes damage from Sucker Punch. I decide Azurill has done its job and sacrifice it, taking down Banette and Azurill with an Earthquake. RIP little buddy. Next is Houndstone and we send out our Love Disc. The crowd cheers us on, boosting our attack and special attack. I think my best move here is another Earthquake. Mimikyu critical slashes Love Disc, so our Earthquake takes down Mimikyu and Love Disc while still doing solid damage to Houndstone. Her Ace Toxicity and He's Scary is next, and Houndstone goes for a Phantom Force. We send out Psyduck and the crowd cheer her on, boosting her accuracy as we go for a Side Beam on Houndstone. We go for an Earthquake next, we demolish Toxicity and Psyduck lives a Phantom Force from Houndstone. We can finally sacrifice our little duck and hit an Earthquake, taking down Houndstone and winning us our Ghost Gym. Next up though is the Quaking Titan Great Tusk. We two-shot it with Aqua Tail as it's weak to water with Gyarados, and that takes it to stage 2. This was a bit closer and harder than I thought it would be. I didn't heal Gyarados here, so we start off missing a little bit of HP. Arvin talks about how his newly cut Skull Villain is going to help us win this fight, and proceeds to get critical hit and dies, leaving us on our own. I'm sure you had a Shelder though before, right? Anyhow, we do solid damage with Aqua Tail and he hits us pretty hard. We miss an Aqua Tail before we connect with another hit, and then he takes us down. We send out Love Disc and we don't take a hit well at all. We hit a Surf though, taking him low before he takes out our Love Disc. We then send out Azurill hoping to finish off the job, but our poor special attack and fraility leaves him on literally 0.1% HP before he takes down Azurill. Our last hope is Psyduck. We live on 8 HP before we take down the Titan, Great Tusk. Onto the Psychic gym now, but before we can do that, Nemona challenges us again. We take good damage from Lycanroc before we set up one Dragon Dance, and that's all it takes is we can sweep through her. I think our main strategy going forward now is using our team to help Gyarados set up and sweep, and using them as support, as they just don't do enough damage without them being severely over-leveled. Okay, it's time for the Psychic gym leader now. We lead Love Disc and they lead with Feraferic. We set up the Rain. They hit us with a Zen Headbutt for huge damage as we take them to half with Surf. The next turn they take us down though. We then send out Psyduck, and my strategy here is to exchange Chilling Waters to lower her attack, so we can come in and set up with Gyarados. However, this goes wrong. After taking her pretty low and hitting her a few times, instead of swapping I went for an attack thinking she would take us out, but she misses a Zen Headbutt, so we killed her. Next up though, Gardevoir. She takes out Psyduck with an Energy Ball and we send out Azurill. I've made the decision I can only terrestrialize Azurill, so we finally use it and we hit a Terra Blast for half as she takes us to the red with a Psychic. Next turn she takes down Azurill though. We finally send out Gyarados, and this is where we can set up our 2 Dragon Dances. We can then proceed to Aqua Tail her whole entire team, one after another. They all fall to our MVP of the run so far, giving us our 7th gym badge. So with the Psychic gym done, there's only one last gym for us to do, the Ice type Grusher. We lead with Love Disc and he leads with Frostmoth. We set up the Rain and we see just how fragile we are. One Bug Buzz nearly takes us out completely. We hit a Surf for good damage, but we go down the next turn. We send out Azurill hoping to get some damage off with Bounce as it's super effective, but one Blizzard demolishes Azurill too. On to Psyduck then I guess. We hit a weak Psybeam and don't take a Bug Buzz well. Now I noticed here my strategy hasn't really been working out well with Psyduck's ability and the Rain, so we're going to have to swap that up a little bit. We take it out though with Psybeam before out comes Beartic. He quickly takes down Psyduck, so we're onto our ace as always, Gyarados. With Tailwind he moves first, hitting an Icicle Crash for OK damage, as we take this time to set up 2 Dragon Dances. He takes us to half with Icicle Crashes. One Waterfall though is enough to take down Beartic. Out comes the adorable Sea Titan and he tanks a Waterfall and hits us with Ice Spinner, taking us low. We finish off Sea Titan and then comes Altaria, who is going to terrestrialize into an Ice type. We hit a Waterfall but it's not doing enough damage to take out Altaria, so they go for a Hurricane, sealing our fate, but they miss, allowing us to get the final hit and winning our final gym badge. We start off with a Fairy Team start as we're pretty close to it. It's actually really hard. Even with a +3 Dragon Dance we can't take down Reverie with Gyarados, and our other Pokemon do so little damage. So this is the perfect time to grind up on our team. If we have a ham sandwich we can mass spawn Chansey. So we level up our team and we try again. So we give it another shot, and this is a perfect time to settle with Gyarados. We set up on a Azumarill and we do 3 Dragon Dances before we take a couple of Play Roughs, taking us to quite low health. We then one-shot Azumarill with Earthquake. We take down Wigglytuff next with a Waterfall. Dashbun goes down to a Waterfall, leaving the last Pokemon, Reverie, the one we've been struggling with. We hit hard with Waterfall, but it's still looking like a 3-hit KO. He goes for a Mystical Talk and deals solid damage to us. We take him to the red before he takes down Gyarados. We then send out our powerhouse Azurill. We terrestrialize, we live a hit, and fire off a Terra Blast, nearly finishing him off. Finally, out comes Love Disc to seal us a win with a Surf. Now Gyarados might be the powerhouse of the team, but some of these fights we wouldn't be able to do without our little superstars. Now we can take down the final Titan Pokemon, the False Dragon. We start off with Gyarados and we set up 2 Dragon Dances as he hits a few weak Aqua Tails and a Body Slam. If this thing Body Slammed you, it would be over, let's be real. But we take it out with a couple of Earthquakes after I realise it's not actually a Dragon type. On to Phase 2. So we set up a Dragon Dance, but I'm in a bit of a dilemma here. If I Earthquake for most damage, I'll knock out Greedent, and Greedent is doing a lot with takedowns and tail whips, so I opt to go for Waterfall for stab and potentially flinch chances. We exchange blows and I get a flinch and a critical hit Waterfall, as Greedent pulls his weight this time and does big damage to help us take out Dondozo. But then it's Tatsuguri time. We hit Ice Fang and Waterfalls for OK damage, while Greedent is definitely helping with this fight. After exchanging blows for a while, we managed to take it down without much hassle, completing the Titan arc of the game. With both the gyms and Titans taken care of, it's time to take down our last team's star member, the Fighting type. Okay, this was a pretty fun fight. We lead with Psyduck and he leads with Toxicroak. We barely hang on from one poison jab, but we can take him out with a Psychic. That's it, Psyduck, you show him who's boss. Passingman comes out next to finish off our duck. We then swap out to Azurill, and by the power of friendship we hold on with 1 HP. I think this is the first time we got this kind of effect in the game so far. We bounce in the air and we do half HP to him and we get paralysed. Passingman is paralysed and we fly back in the air. We connect, taking it out. You go, Azurill. Annihilate comes out next and annihilates us with a close combat. We send out Love Disc, but we can't take a hit from this thing, so it's up to Gyarados again. We go for 3 Dragon Dances, risking a critical hit as we take some close combats. We take him out easily with a Waterfall after that. Lucario comes out next, but being Steel type, he can't live an Earthquake and falls shortly after. Lastly, Reverum. This thing has the ability Stamina, so when we hit it, it raises its defense. We Waterfall for nearly half and it gets a defense boost. It goes for Shift Gear and I'm shifting it. Get it? We hit another Waterfall, taking it to the red, boosting its defense again. It goes for a combat talk, but it's not very effective and we live on 20 HP, allowing us to take out the last Reverum and finishing off Team Star.
We're in the endgame now.
So first we want to take on the Pokemon League, but apart from the Electric Gym, we haven't really been over leveled, so I go and grind on chances for a long time and get all our team to level 65. Well, we've leveled up a bit on chances, which took quite a long time, but we go to attempt the Elite Four. Alright, the first battle should be easy versus a ground type, right? No. So we set up the Rain and Whiscash goes for an Earth Power, doing solid damage to us. We exchange some hits as we hit a Surf, doing nearly half damage. He hits us for another Earth Power, nearly taking out Love Disc, and he decides to go for a Future Sight rather than finishing us off. So we hit a Surf for the KO. Out next is Donphan, and a Rain Boosted Surf doesn't quite KO it from Love Disc, so he takes us out with a Poison Jab. Psyduck comes out and the Duck ruins the Elephant with a Surf. Next is Dugtrio, and our Duck puts in another shift again, KOing it with Surf as he set up a Sandstorm. Clodsire is last, and this thing is pretty scary. It has the ability Water Absorb, so all we can do is Trailblaze while it nearly takes us out with an Earthquake. We hit a weak Psychic and go down to a Liquidation. We send out Azurill and Terastallize and hit a solid Terra Blast before being nuked out of orbit with an Earthquake. Lastly is Gyarados. We hit an Ice Fang to take down the Elite Four number 1. Next is the Steel type Elite Four, Poppy. She's small but very scary, as she has a Magnezone with a sturdy ability. So we lead Psyduck and she leads with Copperaja. We hit a low kick for nearly half as she sets up Stealth Rocks. One more low kick and our Duck takes her out. Next up is a threat, Magnezone, so I send out Love Disc. I'm hoping if I can land a Confusion on it, it might buy us a turn or two to do some chip damage, so we can take him out with Earthquake. Unfortunately we miss, and we go down to 1 discharge. Fantastic, this might be over before it even starts. So we send out Psyduck in the hopes we can tank a hit, but Magnezone sets up a Light Screen for some weird reason. With that, we can get a super effective low kick off. I choose to swap into Azurill and sack it here so we can bring out Gyarados, but we survive, but we shortly go down to a Flash Cannon. Gyarados comes in and we take him swiftly out with an Earthquake. Next is Corviknight, so I choose to go for a setup here, as we dodge a Brave Bird thanks to the power of friendship. That is now helping us out a little bit. We go for another Dragon Dance as Corviknight sets an Iron Defense up. I choose to not push my luck and hit a Waterfall, but it's only doing half. We get the flinch though and connect another Waterfall before Corviknight does some solid damage and kills himself to recoil. Next is Bronzong. This has Levitate, so Earthquake won't do much here. We need to take it out with 1 hit, and we do. Lastly, Tinkaton, but when she terrorizes into Steel, it means 1 Earthquake wins us the second Elite Four. Next up is our old friend Larry, who's also the normal type gym leader. Here, he's the flying type Elite Four though, so his lead is Tropius, who's a massive threat to us, and we lead with Love Disc. I want to set up the Rain for a water type Pokemon, so I go for a Lovely Kiss first, but we miss, again. So Tropius sets up the Sun, activating his ability, and now he has instant solar beams and is faster than our whole team. Great. So he takes us out in 1 hit. It's time to rely on the good old dancing Gyarados strat. Solar Beam doesn't do much to us, so we start dancing. The power of friendship comes into effect again here as Gyarados moves out of the way. Unfortunately, nothing I can do about that mechanic. We set up another Dragon Dance and he hits us with a weak Solar Beam. We then proceed to take him out with an Ice Fang. Next is Staraptor, whose Intimidate lowers our attack, but we connect an Ice Fang and down he goes. Altaria is next, but is 4 times weak to ice. We land the attack with a friendship critical hit, of course, but it didn't matter. Next, Oricorio. This thing is a huge threat as well and can end our run, but we land a Fang and he's down to his last Pokemon. It's Flamigo, so I opt not to push my luck and go for a Waterfall, landing another friendship critical hit, winning us the third Elite Four. I don't think that crit at the end mattered though. Last of the Elite Four is a Dragon type, Hassel. My strategy for this is, you've probably guessed it, set up the rain, try and dance with Gyarados, and sweep with Ice Fang. So let's try it. Yep, it's about as easy as I thought it would be. We set up on Noivern, who barely hurts us with Super Fang, and we proceed to hit it with an Ice Fang it. Dragalge is next, but he can't take an attack and goes down also. Haxorus is third, but one Ice Fang is enough to take that down as well. Flapple comes out, but it's also weak to an Ice Fang, so it's a clean sweep at this point. Baxcalibur is scary for us. When it terastallizes though, it turns into a pure Dragon type, so one Ice Fang wins us this Elite Four. We landed a friendship critical hit again, but I don't think that mattered so much as we are pretty boosted in our attack right now. Now it's time for the champion, Jita. First attempt though goes horribly. Espartha is the first Pokemon and we send out Love Disc. She's faster and hits us really hard with Illumina Crash. We set up the rain though. We outspeed now thanks to our ability and go for a Lovely Kiss, but we miss, so she takes us out. We send out Psyduck next. Lumina Crash does solid damage and it lowers our special defense. We do nearly half with a Surf as she takes us out in the next turn. We send out our Blue Bundle of Joy and we Terastallize. She hits a Lumina Crash for over half and our Terra Blast doesn't quite do enough, so down goes Azurill. Last hope is Gyarados. We set up one Dragon Dance as Lumina Crash does decent damage, but we also raise her speed and attacks thanks to our Opportunist. She hits another Lumina Crash as we take her out with Waterfall. Next Pokemon though is King Gambit. He lives in Earthquake and takes us out with a Stone Edge. I think we're going to have to try this with a Gyarados sweep, so let's give that a go. So on our next attempt we get this run. We lead Love Disc again and her Espartha goes for a Lumina Crash. We set up the rain once more. The next turn we go for a Lovely Kiss, but this time we actually land it and she hits herself in confusion as I misclick another Rain Dance. She hits us with a Lumina Crash, but thanks to the power of friendship, we hold on with 1 HP. Next turn she breaks through the confusion and hits us with a Quick Attack. I genuinely thought about going to Psyduck at this point, but I opted for Gyarados instead. We go for a Dragon Dance as Espartha hits itself in confusion again. We go for one more Dragon Dance and Espartha hits a Lumina Crash. Now it's time to bring the storm. We Waterfall Espartha for a one-hit KO in the rain. King Gambit comes out next, but he meets the same fate and goes down to a single attack. Go-Go is their third Pokemon, and if we can just land an Ice Fang, we can take it out, and we do, so Go-Go goes down next. Fourth is Avalugg. We can't take this out in one hit as it's got a really high defense stat, so we go for a Stab Waterfall and do half. He hits an Avalanche for massive damage as we take it out the following turn. Veluza is up next and we land an Earthquake which she can't stand, so she falls also. Her final Pokemon is Glamora, but is weak to Earthquake and Waterfall, so we land a Stab, 2 times boosted Waterfall and finish her off, making us champion. That was a rough set of battles, but we definitely got lucky, but we did need it. We can now go back to the lighthouse, which leads us to our battle with Arven. Okay, this is getting kind of funny now. I can't even predict the battle outcomes due to the insane RNG. Let me explain it. So we lead with Psyduck and he has Greedent. We hit a Surf for nearly half as he body slams us for about half too. We Surf again, taking him to the red, as his body slam takes us to 1 HP with a critical hit. Thanks to friendship, we live, but we get paralysed, but then friendship removes it. I honestly can't keep up with this mechanic. So we finish at Greedent off with a Surf. Out comes Toadscruel next. This thing is a monster. We get outsped and we go down. We send out Love Disc, but it's faster than us and just nukes us with a Power Whip. We send out our Blue Ball of Power next and go for a bounce. We land doing nearly half as he hits us with a Spore. We get hit with a Power Whip taking us to only 9 HP. We then shake ourselves awake, but we go down anyway. Our last chances now is a sweep with Gyarados. We hit a Dragon Dance and he puts us to sleep, again. We somehow dodge a Power Whip while we are asleep thanks to friendship. We wake up and hit a Dragon Dance as he gets a critical hit Power Whip. We then proceed to Ice Fang him for the knockout. Up next is Garganical, I think I said that right, the Minecraft Pokemon. But that thing gets broken down with just one Waterfall. Next up is Skullvillain, but we take it out with a boosted Waterfall as well. Arvin sends out Cloyster as we hit a weak waterfall. He goes for liquidation but we dodge it. We hit another waterfall and he hits us pretty decently, taking us low. We take it out after that. Finally, Mabustiff. It's one of them, I swear I can't pronounce these new Pokemon names. Finally, Mabustiff. At this point, I think we lose. His Intimidate lowers us to just a +1 attack, and I think we go down to 1 move. But we land a Friendship critical hit, winning us this fight. This run has had so many ups and downs. So if we head back to the academy, Clive reveals his true self. It's Clavel. Who would have guessed? He challenges us to a battle and he's got some powerhouses like a Abomasnow and a Gyarados. I'm pretty scared. So we lead with Love Disc and he leads with Oranguru. We go for a Rain Dance as he hits us with a Yawn. We swap out to Psyduck and get hit for a foul play. He outspeeds us and hits us again, taking us just below half as we hit a Surf for like okay damage. He owns us again, but I decide to stay in and see if we can live, but he takes us out. We send back out Love Disc and fire off a rain boosted Surf, but it's still just not enough to take him out, and he hits us pretty weakly too. We take him out the next turn and then out comes Abomasnow. We go for a Lovely Kiss to try and get some confusion to help us out here. Abomasnow sets up an Aurora Veil, boosting his defense and special defense of the team, and we opt to sell the Rain again. Abomasnow immediately snaps out and destroys our heart with a Wood Hammer and takes some recoil damage too. We send out our Blue Ball of Power next and we go for a bounce as he Ice Shards for nearly half. We do okay damage as we land the move, but we go down next turn to a Blizzard. This is not looking good for us. We have to go for broke here. I Dragon Dance 3 times while tanking Blizzards to 48 HP, but I know he has a Gyarados with Intimidate, so I have no choice. A rain boosted Waterfall takes out Abomasnow. Up next is Houndoom, but it has no chance and we take it out with 1 Waterfall. Then is Gyarados. If we can just get a flinch, we can probably win the fight. We go for Waterfall, we do over half, we don't flinch. He connects Stone Edge, but the power of Friendship comes in yet again and we live on 1 HP, letting us take out Gyarados in return. I genuinely would have to grind so much if it wasn't for this mechanic. We take out Poltergeist in 1 move and his last Pokemon is Meowscarada. If we connect an Ice Fang, we win the fight. We do. These fights are genuinely so unpredictable. I do kinda enjoy it though. With him taken care of, he reveals he's not the leader, and we fight the real leader, our friend Penny. She has an evolution team, so let's give it a go. The first attempt is awful. Umbreon hits her lead, and we exchange blows with Love Disc before he takes us out. Psyduck manages to eventually take out Umbreon, but her next Pokemon is Jolteon. It outspeeds our whole team, and with the rain that we set up, it just sweeps us with thunder. Our strategy for the next fight has to be a Gyarados win. Unfortunately, the footage for the win got corrupted, but it was just a straight up Gyarados sweep, I promise you, so you're not missing much here. We have our final battle now with Nemona. She leads Lycanroc and we lead with our heart. We set up the rain as she set up Stealth Rocks. We are now faster and we hit a super effective Surf, taking her to the red as she hits the Stone Edge, doing massive amounts of damage to us. An Accelerock next turn takes us to 1 HP as Love Disc toughs it out and we KO it with a Surf. Poor Mart is next and goes for a quick attack, but Love Disc toughs it out again, so we hit a Surf for nearly half before she goes for a quick attack again. And we tough it out again, so we can hit another Surf, taking her down to just a sliver of HP. She finally connects a quick attack and Love Disc goes down after putting in some exceptional work. We send out Azurill next, hoping to be able to live a hit, but a close combat absolutely annihilates our blue ball and there is nothing we can do. We send out Psyduck as Pormok goes for a double shock. This looks like it's over, but Psyduck toughs it out this time, so we can take it out with a Trailblaze, boosting our speed in the process. The Dunsparce is next. We hit a low kick for okay damage before Hyper Drill ends our duck. Our last hope for this fight now is Gyarados. We intimidate, lowering his attack and proceed to start the dance. We get hit pretty hard from a Hyper Drill as we go to a +2 attack. However, the Dunsparce starts coiling, boosting his defense and attack. I can't risk dying here, so I have to go for moves. We go for a Waterfall as he coils again, so we definitely made the right choice. Then is Gudra. We miss an Ice Fang as Dragon Pulse puts us only on 63 HP. We connect our next Ice Fang to take it down. Orthworm is up and it's not looking great. We hit a Waterfall but don't quite take it out, but we flinch him. Phew. Finally is Skeledirge, but when she terrestrializes into fire, it means one waterfall wins us this fight and ends this rival battle once and for all. We're finally champion. We've took down Team Star and took down all the Titans and helped Arvin restore his Pokemon. It's time to head to Area 0, where we meet up with Penny, Nimona and Arvin. We glide down on Koraidon and we're tasked with turning locks on in 4 research facilities. We are challenged by Pokemon each time we get to a research centre. It's a 2v1 though, so these battles are super easy. Once we make our way to the bottom and we open the gate, we have a gauntlet of sorts with Paradox Pokemon charging at us. We swiftly take them out and it's up to me and Koraidon now. We find out the Professor is just an AI version too. Our Pokemon are genuinely too weak for this fight. We're going to have to rely on Gyarados Dragon Dancing. This is the best strategy we have. So we are warned, if we turn off the time machine, she will challenge us to our final battle. This is it. Can Misty beat Pokemon Scarlet? She leads with Slitherwing and we lead with our champ, Gyarados. We set up a Dragon Dance as she hits us with a low sweep, negating our speed boost, but we can keep our attack raise. The next turn, we both exchange the same moves. I go for Dragon Dance, she goes for low sweep. We boost one more dance as she goes for her Zen Headbutt, critically hitting us and taking us very low. It's time to go for it, it's all or nothing. We waterfall for the one shot, as out next is Fluttermane. It's very fragile, so we go for a waterfall and it goes down as well. Sandy Shots comes out, but it's a steel type, so we can take it out with a massive earthquake. We are absolutely decimating this fight so far. Screamtail comes out, but a huge boosted waterfall takes down the Jigglypuff. Brute Bonnet is next, and this thing's design is pretty cool. It goes for a Sucker Punch, doing massive damage and leaving us on only 12 HP. We need to hit the Ice Fang, and we do. Finally, Roaring Moon, one of my favourite Paradox Pokemon. If we land this Ice Fang, we win the run. It all comes down to this. We outspeed, connect with Ice Fang, taking it down and winning us a fight, and answering the question, can Misty beat Pokemon Scarlet? My honest thoughts on this run was it was super hard in some places and pretty easy in the others. Without Gyarados and Dragon Dance, it would have been impossible, I'm pretty sure. We didn't change any IVs, EVs, natures, or even give egg moves, and we played the game raw. We could have waited for the DLC to access some more Pokemon, but this was a fun idea and I just wanted to do it. I really hope you guys enjoyed the journey with me. If you're still here, thanks, and I'll see you in our next adventure.